Hi, Chris.
How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I've had a rather rough time because my niece and nephew, grandniece and nephew, have been really sick, starting with COVID, and they've just had a series of illnesses, the last being this respiratory distress.
Oh, no. Yeah.
And he had a temperature, he's 3.5. He had a temperature of 104.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty high. So they seem to be better now. So I'm so excited that I don't have to worry about them dying or going to the hospital or something, He was in the hospital with COVID just for a little bit, but
Wow.
anyway.
Hi, Gwen. How are you?
Hi, Gwen.
Hi, great, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, I know. There's like triple pandemics happening.
I know.
I'm just
and-
really tired. If I fall asleep, it's nothing to do with you guys, with what you're talking about. I was up till 3 working, submitting a manuscript to a journal.
Oh my
Okay.
goodness. And what time did you get up this morning?
7 something. I always get up when I have to get up, but sometimes I only get 3 hours sleep,
Oh
5
my
hours
God.
sleep.
Well,
I'm used to it. I've always done it my whole life.
I never
Yeah,
could
you
do
know
that. man.
how that is for you? Sleep affects every single system in the body.
I just explained it. No, when I was in college, I got like
Your-
a couple
your-
hours before dawn.
Your arteries and veins get non-elastic, your heart suffers, your brain suffers. Yeah, everything is bad.
Hi,
What have
Pam.
you done it your whole life?
Yeah, well, so you've been hitting yourself your whole life with bad stuff. So keep at it, Gwen.
My husband's the same way.
Life is, well, some people actually need way less sleep than others.
Yeah, you know what? It's so interesting. People always say that, but sleep need is a normal curve. Everybody can't be on those edges.
Right.
Most people are right in the middle.
No, but what I mean by that is
Very
some
few.
people really
Very few.
need 7 and some people really need 10.
Yeah,
That
that
kind of
within
thing. I'm not
normal range.
talking about 3 hours. I think people
Yeah.
need more than 3 hours. But
yeah, no, I'm talking 3 and 5, 4 and 5 hours. That's pathological.
yeah.
Oh, usually 5 hours, and then like on the weekend or something, your day off, then you make up for it. That's
Yeah,
it.
and
you
that's
don't make
bad
up.
for you. That's also bad for you because then your circadian rhythms are totally screwed up and your body has no clue what it's to be doing, whether it's supposed to be asleep or awake, what time it's supposed to be digesting food, what time it isn't. You're messing up 2 different systems then. So go at it, Gwen.
My body's used to it apparently, because I've done it my whole life.
well, what I know is I could do a lot of different things when I was 20 that I wouldn't even think about doing now. Like
Yeah,
staying up all
alcoholics-
night is like, no way would I do that now.
Alcoholics say they've been drinking that much all their life too, and then they die of liver cirrhosis. So keep at it, Gwen.
My husband and I both die because we're both up late doing it all the time. Like we go, like 1:32
Hi,
is
Janet.
like an
Hi,
early,
Stephanie
go to bed
and
early.
Bill.
Hi,
I think we
Janet.
missed something there.
Well, Gwen's getting a lesson in amount of sleep needs and what happens when you don't get enough sleep.
I studied that for 50 years,
Get grumpy.
That's my area of expertise, but don't listen. Keep doing stupid stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
what I know is there's nothing worse than not being able to sleep. That's what I know.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen to me often at all. I'm usually a very sound sleeper, but if I am having a little bit of trouble getting to sleep, like it's taking me more than 3.5 minutes, it's like, and some people need a lot of time to fall asleep. So I think that's a horrible thing to.
I have no trouble falling asleep. It's staying asleep that's the problem.
Oh, really?
That's called aging.
Thank you. I wouldn't have noticed.
There's a cure for that. Just don't get older.
Yeah. Well, the alternative to that. Oh, well, let's see, maybe we could wait another minute to see if Steve is gonna come. I didn't hear from him, so I assume he's coming.
Silence.
So I hope everybody's been out looking at all the incredible foliage this fall.
We went to two wonderful Walktober events on Saturday.
It's
I
been stunning.
finally had a Saturday off. It was great. And it was a Native American speaker in Columbia, and we donated to the Historical Society because it's a fantastic job. And then we went to the Connecticut Troubadours in Pomfret.
Okay.
Another great event. Tyrone Farm.
And it was oh, that's the horse farm, right?
My first time there, yeah.
It's a nice place, yeah. Yeah, it's
Beautiful
been
views.
beautiful driving around. It's just
Oh.
gorgeous. Or walking.
An amazing year. And you know, there was an article in the New York Times last week about how New England was going to be a bust this year.
Yeah,
Oh,
Because,
it's fantastic this year.
yeah, right, it's
That's-
better than
Yeah.
ever.
That's good. It
Yeah,
cuts
better
down on
than
the
ever.
traffic.
Really.
I don't know. Well, it certainly is been really, these sunny days have just been
Stunning.
really amazing.
And today with the rain, maybe it's balancing out a little more.
Yeah, I think we're probably catching up a bit.
Yeah, we've been getting quite a bit of rain.
I can
Of course,
tell you,
that happens anyway. Apparently, September and October are heavy rain in terms
Yeah.
of amounts, so that we need a lot more to keep up. Apparently, no, make up the amount, but it's better
Yeah.
than it was. So,
That's
Like-
why fall is
tell
a
you
really
my-
good time to plant things.
right.
What, Janet?
I was gonna say my sump pump has started to run again. It hasn't run since really early spring.
Wow.
So that's a good sign that the water table is getting back to normal.
In your basement.
Well, yeah, right.
The water table is in your basement. How cool.
Yeah, well, yeah, you know, a lot of these houses were built where
Yeah.
they shouldn't have been, right?
Well, why don't we just start, and then if Steve does come, he can just join in. I look back, I think the last two meetings, we didn't do approval of the minutes, and that was the September 26th and the August 22nd meetings.
Yeah, I
So,
looked at both of those. I move we approve the minutes of both of those.
all right, do we have a second? Okay,
The second one.
and all approved?
Right.
Aye.
I'll
Alright.
abstain, I wasn't there.
Okay. And then just to update you with the treasurer's report, the only thing that we've really expense that we've had, which is an ongoing thing that we do every year for the farmers market, is for the ads in Neighbors. And so for May and June, it was $60. And then for July, August, September, and October, it was 120. And so that's the only thing that we've used the money for. So I'm sure as we go along, hopefully in the year, we'll be able to use more funds. And that's something that's programmed every year. It's programmed in the amount that we're going to spend, because that's an ongoing expense with the Neighbors ad. So, which brings me to the farmers market. And it's been a hard year for the farmers market, because we had a couple of unfortunate incidences, like with the 4th of July parade, and the market had to end early, which would have been okay if we had been able to tell them, but we didn't find out till the week of. So there was a little bit of hard feelings there with the market master. And then Melissa, the social worker, came up with this great program to give vouchers to people in town to use at the market, in which it's been an incredibly successful program. And the people have not tried to buy, other things other than what's on the list, which is basically food and meat and vegetables and fruits. And they've done really good in using that. And so that's worked out. But there was a lot of problems, as is the case with new programming, that people didn't know how they should handle the vouchers and what they should do with it. And we worked it out. So if the farmers wanted to, they could just drop it off in the drop box and it would all work out well, or they could mail it in, whatever they wanted to do. And anytime during the season, they could do that because the people who got the vouchers got the whole batch at once and they could use them whenever they wanted. And so all that worked, but it was hard. The market master and I had disagreements. And so it was a really hard year. And our market master, Julie, who's been the market master for, I don't know, maybe 8-9 years now, if not more. I don't know if she's going to come back because she hasn't really been she's only been at one market since that July time, I believe. So we may be needing to find a new market master, which is one thing. The other thing is that Julie will not be going after October, at the end of October. And I thought from what she had said to me that was when the market was going to end. So then someone said, oh, I hear that the market is extending. And I said, oh, I don't know, let me check. And so I went down there and some people thought that the market was going to do what we've done the last 2 or 3 years, which is go through right before Thanksgiving. So I had to run around there and talk with everybody and make sure everybody was on the same page. And it ends up that, yes, the market is going to go until the 20th of November, which is 3 more markets after the one next week. So if people ask you, you can tell them that. It'll all be well. We were able to there will be an ad extending it in Neighbors, and I was able to get it changed. Amazingly enough, the Citizen. So it should say the right thing in the Citizen, that it's not that it's ending at the end of October. It's really continuing on. So all that fortunately happened, and now it's on the website that the last market will be at November 20th. So all that happened, but it was a little precarious, and it could have been that most of the material would have said October, last Sunday in October. So that's all set. And hopefully in the Chronicle too, where they do the weekly community calendar, that will be changed too. This one, I couldn't change it for this coming week. It will say last end in October, but the following week it will say, hopefully I can get that in. So that's the story with that. Basically, the other vendors are very happy, and I don't anticipate them not wanting to come back. We'll see as we get towards spring what's going to happen and how it might change. I don't know. The winter's a long time and people have a lot of time to think about things, but it may be an issue coming up as the season unfolds. But basically, even with the drought and everything, I think they were pretty happy. The market's been down a little bit, but last week it was really good. And they did have a person who works with grant funding at Yukon, counting and keeping track of people, because they keep track of all the markets and they try and promote local markets and everything. So it's the end of the 16th year. I think it's something that Ashford can be pretty proud of, for managing for 16 years to do all this. And once it gets in place as it is now, it's fairly easy, but there's always kinks to work out. But nonetheless, it all happened. And yes.
What does the market master do? What are the tasks?
They're the ones who collect the fees from the vendors. They make sure that there's enough vendors. If somebody leaves, that is like say a meat vendor leaves, they look and make sure there's another meat person. They try and add people. Julie, much of the time, added in people who were more guest vendors who would only come like once a month, or there's a couple of people who only come when the Coventry market isn't open, which means that since we started on Mother's Day, he came, I think they start 1st of June or middle of June or something, and then they end, I believe, the end of October. So he back the guy who does the hot sauce, and he's very popular. He sells a lot.
Does he really? I never see anyone at his table.
No, well, there are a lot of people who just come for that.
Really?
In the very beginning of the year. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So it's a good sauce. I've gotten a couple of them. Some of them are hot, some of them not so hot, but I mean, not so hot in terms of if you like hot, if you know what I mean. Anyway.
Not so spicy.
Yeah. And Julie was a good market master because she went to other markets and actually brought in a few people. I think actually our fruit vendor, Dee, she brought in because she had met her at another market. So she was able, but I think there's a couple other people who do a couple other markets. So
Jessica does the stores market too.
yeah, right. Yeah. So it all worked out, which I was very pleased with, but it was a little challenge. I thought I was in a time warp on Sunday. It's like, oh, you're ending. No, we're starting. Oh, what? Well, who's on first? Who's on, that kind of thing. But then the next thing I wanted to tell people about is thank all the lords and goddesses and powers that we got this sustainable thing. Oh my, if I didn't have any gray hair white hair when we started out, I tell you, I would have no hair by now. This was the hardest one ever. And I was not the only one saying that. Other people have said that, and other people who got certificates in the past said they don't want to do it again. And this was with people who had employees working for them. So that it just, I mean, Janet and Stephanie can testify, and Christine too, how dotting every
I'll
little
testify to that.
right. You could have done everything correctly, but if you didn't put it in the right boxes and you didn't write it the right way, you weren't going to get approved.
They
And,
seriously have a really terrible system.
Mhm.
well,
they
and
seriously
both times, no,
deal
wait,
with that.
this year, the first time the trial submission, which was in April, I believe, I couldn't push the button. It wouldn't work. And then finally, when I got a hold of Jessica, she said, oh, well, the button's not going to work unless you have every category filled in and you have the necessary points. Nowhere does it say that, So I was thinking, oh, this is not. And then the same thing happened when we were submitting the final time. Nothing was happening. I couldn't get the submit button up, And so when I got hold of Jessica, by this point, she's only working part-time. So I had to wait till 5 o'clock. And she said, oh, well, I go, yes, I did that. I did that. She goes, well, I've never seen that happen before. I go, oh, great. And so I had to wait and submit it to Info Sustainable. And I said to the guy, please, as soon as you get this, please let me know that you've received it and it's approved, because I'm going to be holding my breath since then. Well, don't you know, 8:01, I got an email. He said, you're all set. So the people who work there are good. It's just, I think the system, the dashboard system is, I think part of what happens some of the time is when everybody's submitting at the end, it's like the circuits go crazy. That was the only thing I could think of. I don't know. But anyway, it's all set. I've gotten probably about 5 notifications that we've gotten our bronze certification, including today. I got a call from a woman saying this is just officially to notify you that we're having the party on the 14th of November. If anyone wants to come, it's 3 to 6. Janet and I are going. I believe you're going, Janet, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. It's at the West Hartford Town Hall, and it's usually a pretty good, time. The last time it was nice. And you meet some other people who've been working on it too. We share horror stories, stuff like that. Anyway, so I think what we get is another little plaque about that big that says the time, because this one says bronze 2019. I think we get another little plaque that you put on the bigger plaque that says bronze 2022. So that's,
We should get a plaque this big.
Anyway, I was at the town hall today and Bill thanked me profusely for this and everybody else and said we did a good job, which of course is more than true, more than true. I'll tell you. So that's it. We don't have to do it for 3 more years and someone else will be around then. It won't be me. I sometimes have a hard time learning a lesson, but twice is enough for me. I don't need to strike out. So
Yeah, you're
really,
so,
there were a lot of
So-
people on this committee who worked really hard and they will usually maybe a couple months after all this finishes, then they call us and talk with us and ask what are our recommendations. And I am going to really recommend some pretty strong things. And I'm also going to talk to Lynn Stoddard, who's the head, who I know, that it's not manageable for towns that don't have town employees working on it. It's just not manageable. And particularly this year, there were people who they had gaps in the people who were working there. So it wasn't that people didn't want to help us and provide information, they just didn't have the time. So that made something that's hard even harder.
and
So,
everything should be rewritten to be at 6th grade level and normal English.
well,
Seriously, it's just the most poorly written bureaucratic bunch of garbage I've ever seen in my life. And it's insane.
right.
Sorry.
And the one thing that I was really frightened is this Action 9, which is all about trash. When I first looked at it, I go, I don't know how we're going to do this. I don't know how we're going to do this. I talked with our intern about it. And, finally Haley said, well, I think I can do this. And so she did it. And then she left early. See, this is the other thing. They give us these interns and then the interns leave before the application is due. I mean, the last 2 weeks, that's when it's the hardest, right? Anyway, so she did it and then I did it and it really wasn't right. I had included too many things. So of course they send me after it's all submitted in and I'm like, okay, I'm done with this. I can get back to my life. I can live again. I can have a life or whatever. They send me this email saying, oh, sorry. You did meet the 200 points. You're over that, but you don't have this category. It wasn't completed. So you need to complete this. But we are giving you a chance if you complete this. And I'm like, oh no, the whole town of Ashford, if I screw this up, they will not get recertified for sustainability. So that was my challenge. The very thing I was frightened of. So if you do, whoever does it again, don't be frightened of anything. Just say, oh, this is easy.
Easy to say.
Easy, right. So moving along to our trash cleanup, which Pam's holding her head.
I am. It was me, Loretta, and Janet. That was it. There is really no interest in Ashford with the people in getting out to do this. So I was talking to Loretta and Janet, and I said, I'm going to do it one more time in the spring and see what happens then. And after that, I think what I'll do in the spring and fall is just put notices out there on Facebook again and just say, pick a road, clean it on your own, because it was, I hate to say it, but basically a waste of time to sit there at, Knowlton Hall for 15 minutes with all of the equipment and supplies and no one shows up. Not one person. So they
Adopt a road really works well in a lot of places. Adopt a trail, keep the trail clean.
Well, I tried that last spring with a sign-up sheet and 4 people, including Catherine Silversmith, said they might be interested. They might, but there are a lot of people who do it on their own, year round. They're responsible for the road they live on. And,
Or the road we walk on, if we see it. we pick it
Yes.
up. It's like,
Yeah.
remind people to put a bag in their car or
Yes.
in their backpack or.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to tell people. I'll put out the tips. I had put that out way back in the beginning, have a bag in your car. Also, for rather than throwing the trash out the window, throw it in the bag in the car. And, save people some work.
Do
Maybe.
people still throw it out the window?
Oh,
like-
yeah. Where else would it come from?
You
That
wouldn't
can't
believe
be-
the things that we
You
pick
see
up.
our roadside of our property.
Yeah.
There's
Right.
always stuff
Weekly,
every day.
I could be picking up stuff and get a whole bag.
Sure.
And there are things like, I find cell phones. There was a computer the other day.
Oh, my
Oh,
God.
Yeah. I'm like,
Can't believe it.
I don't know.
Ugh. Well.
Maybe they think that's the way to recycle those things.
It is. Stephanie recycles for them, right?
Exactly.
No, and I think it's everywhere. My brother was telling me in Manchester, they have this huge dump there. Well, and you can see it from 84. You see this big mountain as you're heading into Hartford. And they have pretty high, if it's like, there's a certain amount of chairs you can bring in, but if it's more, you have to pay like $20 or something. And he showed me pictures. There's like a little kind of like little forest right before you get to the transfer station dump. I think it's called a dump. And all these chairs are just in the woods there. People just throw them.
Throw them out,
in the
sure.
wood, and it's called Love Lane. He said, this is no Love Lane, but I think it's, I'm always amazed and astounded at the things that I find. Also a little scary. When I find like a quart of hard liquor, I mean, the nips, okay, yeah, but the quarts and they're empty. It's like they're driving right by my house. I like, ooh, I'm walking on that road. But I wonder that we might want to look at contacting the school, maybe like
Oh, yeah.
sixth grade
And the
teacher,
churches and maybe the
to
Boy
see,
Scouts.
if people wanted to work on doing that, or the churches or something, so that people are doing it with a group, or if anyone knows anyone with like teenage kids, because if their parents say, just go on out for an hour, so, and it doesn't matter that when we've had young teenagers there, they're just, chatting and picking up stuff and everything. So we might want to contact the school or a teacher there who might want to do it as a class project or something. We don't want young kids, because then you run into, I mean, I wouldn't send any kid on North Road. Because the cars go way too fast. But there are other Varga Road. When we were on Varga Road several years ago, Pam, there were maybe one or two cars the whole time we were there. And there was a lot of garbage on that road. Of course, Steve does a lot, but there's a lot of traffic on that road because there's
apartments.
apartment buildings. So, I mean, maybe we just need to be thinking a little bit about what are some key people that might want to help, or
The Scouts, Boy and Girl Scouts. We get the Boy Scouts to help us clean up the cemetery.
So
But
I
it
wonder,
depends on with the Boy
if we
Scouts.
have a budget, do we have enough?
What?
But
Do we
you
have
broke up.
Do we have enough in the budget to make little signs that say this road is cleaned by the Boy Scouts of troop blah, blah, blah?
Well, we might, but I know a couple of times when I talked with the Boy Scouts, they said the kids aren't old enough to do it. They were just having young kids. So, and they don't really, it's not a very big troop that they have.
There are older kids. There's the Eagle Scout badge that they have to work for. And my son did projects on that when he was an older teen.
I know,
Yeah.
that was a while ago.
Yeah, it was.
Talking
It was a
about
while
now.
ago.
There's
no older kids involved?
Kids don't get involved as much as they used to, but I mean, it's certainly something we can look into.
Maybe we could find some gangs. Sorry.
Make it like a video game.
Yeah, right.
They could wear those things over their eyes.
This road,
They'll
this
be
road
picking up Pokemon
cleaned by
instead
the
of trash.
Bloods and the Crips.
Well, I think,
You can make
Go
it a
ahead, Janet.
you can make it a scavenger hunt.
Yeah, right.
Put some money around in different places.
You find those
Those are-
painted rocks all over.
Those who bring in the most nips get.
well,
An
I
Amazon
think
gift
the other
certificate.
thing is that the advertising has to be like you call someone and you say, you want to are you interested in cleaning up kind of thing? Because people see things written somewhere and they're really not motivated for something like this. I don't think. So if we had more, either people doing it for credit, I mean, we probably could, even like the high school kids, we could probably give them a community credit.
Well, we did.
We've done that in the past.
Yeah, we've
Mhm.
done it. And, still, we might have gotten one kid per session, maybe one. I don't think I've ever written 2 letters after one event. It's been maybe one now and then. I've talked to E.O. Smith. I've talked to them at the Ashford School. They've got older kids there in the middle school. They don't follow through. They don't show up.
My daughter
Combine
did.
it with something else.
What?
I wonder if you could combine it with something else
Yes.
that's happening in town. Like something that's going on with Christine with the Arts Council, or that like say you're having a poetry slam about garbage, or I don't know, something, and as part of it, everybody goes and walks down wherever and picks up trash as part of the whole thing, that you might be able to get a bigger cross section of people to come.
Or family.
My
day.
daughter did
Whoever
this
brings
through
you the
the
biggest bag.
Ashford, the Ashford Recreation Department organized this, painting the gazebo that's in front of the senior center, and got all these high school kids to come and do this. And I'm not sure, I don't know, think they earned a credit, but I think there was a trip. If you went every week and did this, at the end, there was a Six Flags trip. If you went to enough of these, like you're doing free labor for the town. And if you did it enough times, you earned this trip. It was a bus trip. And my daughter did that one year.
Well, we might, I think I
Can't
was.
hear you,
when-
Stephanie.
Oh, I was just saying that I don't think that's a draw for kids anymore. They have their own activities, and what I'm suggesting is not necessarily to get kids involved, but to get older people involved who might bring their kids if they were involved in whatever town thing it is.
Well, that's an idea.
I
Janet?
I was going to suggest the recreation, talking to Sherry York, and maybe we could combine it with some kind of event.
Family day.
And she has, oh gosh, no, we're too busy on Family Day.
No, whoever brings the biggest bag to family day gets free something.
But Family Day isn't the best day to do it because there's still so much growth on the roads. It really, it's either the spring or the late fall.
Yeah.
There was still a lot we couldn't really see because there's still a lot of weeds and stuff along the edge of the road. So it's better, you have to do it after a couple of really hard frosts so that it's easier to see things.
Kind of like a walkathon or something. Maybe if people went, they got sponsors, and then money was donated to like the food bank in town or something like that. Maybe that would generate some interest.
Or
That's a
people
good
are going
idea,
to-
Pam. Maybe next year for Walktober, we could have a trash walk.
That sounds like, I mean, I don't know. I'd like to really try, give it the last push in the spring
Mhm.
with a really big effort and see what happens. And then, use that as the interest barometer. If people still don't show up, then I think, it's telling us they really don't care.
Or they don't care to do it on a specific day, because I know there
Yeah.
are people,
Oh, yeah,
you know,
exactly.
and so maybe that isn't particular, something that appeals to our town. But
Exactly.
maybe we haven't exhausted all our possibilities. And I know there used to be a teacher at the school who was a great environmentalist. And if there were teachers there now who.
Wait, at E.O. Smith?
No, at Ashford.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And I know the school went through big changes. The town went through a big change. Everything was changing this year. So, new principal and new superintendent and a lot of teachers leaving. So maybe to make a contact with the school and see if there are teachers who might be interested in promoting a trash cleanup in their school, in their class, with their class, whatever, something like that. That might be a possibility, that might be something we could think about. And really, I think something about Walktober that would certainly, it might appeal to some people to come and do that. It's something to think about. We have a little bit of time for.
Yeah.
And Walktober now is a lot longer. They have events listed in that calendar from September,
September to
October, November. You might not want to compete with the middle of October with all the incredible events, but maybe like just before or just after might be better.
The end, yeah, that would make more sense, I think, at the end. All right, well, let's work on it. We have
Okay, we got time.
a couple of months to put on our thinking caps and see what we need to do. And then the meeting, I sent out the meeting schedule. I don't know if everyone saw it. Basically, the only change is right around Christmas. And so it would be the third Monday rather than the fourth. But what I wanted to just get people's sense about what they're interested in, what they want to do in terms of staying with Zoom, doing a hybrid, or just going in person exclusively. It's any possibilities are open apparently now, because you can have in-person meetings at the town hall.
I love Zoom.
Wait, one at a time. I didn't hear you, Christine.
I love Zoom.
Okay.
I love not having to drive at night. I love Zoom.
I have to agree with Christine. I turned my computer on and I saw your list and it said in-person meetings. And I thought, oh my God, am I supposed to be at the town hall now? I don't have enough time to drive there. And I said, oh no, that's not tonight. So I was glad I didn't have to drive tonight.
I think we should do them on Zoom through the winter at least. And, they're predicting COVID might surge again. So I much prefer Zoom.
Yes. Yeah, especially since where we meet is that neat little room with no ventilation.
I'm just getting over COVID.
Oh, you are?
You're getting over it?
Wow.
Both
I
of
didn't have
you?
any symptoms, but I
Well,
was,
you had some.
yeah,
but not much.
minor.
A lot of
Goodness.
people are just getting over it. A lot of my friends. So
Yeah, I know. It's everywhere. It's amazing.
Yeah, I guess we
well,
still have to be careful.
and people are not being careful, and flu season is coming up too. So,
I don't even
and
want to.
apparently the other thing is that a lot of people are getting adults, not just kids, very bad colds, and they don't test for positive for COVID, but it's like COVID in that it's pretty bad in terms of it takes a while to get over it and you're down for the count. So that's what other people have been telling me now. So there you go. It's around and it's alive and well, and it keeps mutating faster than we know what to do. So a lot of people who were very negative about let's throw away our masks are putting them back on again. So there you go. So, I mean, certainly, yeah, I don't think there would be any change. And if there were a change in the spring, for instance, we could probably do a hybrid thing. I'm pretty sure I guess we would need to check to be sure that the room that has the equipment in it is free, something like that. So that would also be a possibility, but we'll see what happens. And take it from there. I think people have gotten very used to just sitting at home and doing their meeting. So
Not that I wouldn't like to see you all in person, but I would rather do it like this
Yes,
for the time being.
your faces are just lovely the way they are here.
okay, all
You
right.
have to
Well, it's
improve
not
your
going to
life,
change
though.
in the near future.
Right.
For sure, I'm not planning anything for the winter time. Except getting my flu shot, which I haven't gotten yet. So then I just wanted to check, Bill, with you in terms of the signage and everything of what's happening with or what your plans are for Trumco Link, just so that
I'll
we're
have
up.
it up. I think I'll have it up this week.
Okay. Are you sure? What's how you're feeling? You feeling okay?
Oh, yeah. No, this was a couple of weeks ago that I had COVID. So,
Oh,
and I
okay.
never had really bad symptoms, but I was infective, I guess. I don't know.
Wow. Okay. Well, thank you. Getting that done. And then you can coordinate with Steve about him getting a map or whatever.
I did a map.
Oh, okay. All right. So we're all set.
I show the Tremco or the Joshua Trust Trail, and then where we meet with it, and then
Oh,
take
the
off.
rank. Oh, great. Oh, good. Okay, perfect.
So is that something that can go on our page on the website?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll send it around and let you look at it. And
Okay,
wait
good.
till I get the
Okay.
I'd like a copy. We're going to have a meeting for Our Town, Our Future, and we want to show what we've accomplished. Each of the subcommittees in town need to show what's been accomplished during the past few years when we haven't seen each other, basically.
Right. Yeah, well, when all that gets done, we can add that to the website. That should be relatively easy to do. Let's see, where are we? Okay, so I didn't get a chance to talk to Jennifer. I was a little out of sorts here this week. So that's about all of what I had for tonight. And if anyone has other business, please speak now or forever hold your peace. Christine.
Forever?
That was just a joke for you because I know that.
So do you know if the grant went in for the Kettle Rock and what it had in it?
Yes, the grant went in and they won't know till December.
Do you know what was in it? Do you know what it looked like? Is that
Well, it's sort of, it was basically compiling some of the ideas that people had, mostly focused on, what we had said and done, because ours was the clearest by far, and just talked about the possibility of mixing in some potential agriculture or business kinds of things. And the big thing that they wanted to show in the grant was that if we did get it, we would be able to get the forest management thing done by Yale Forest. And so I can't believe it, but Mark Ashton was so good, and I sent him something, and almost within minutes, he wrote up and he said, here, try this and change it any way you want. I just sort of wrote it out quickly. Well, Mark Ashton writing out something quickly is finished product as far as I'm concerned,
He's a pro. That's what he does. Yeah.
And I was very grateful for his responding so quickly like that, and just saying, sure, no problem. We can do it in the, obviously we have to wait a year, but I don't think that's nothing, because their reports are so thorough and so good. And I think that will quell a lot of the pie in the sky that some people say, oh, we could do this, because it's 300 acres, but it's not 300 acres, so I think that'll help. And hopefully once the grant comes through, and they feel pretty good about it, because it's a two town, it's Ashford and Wellington, and there's already a trail in it, so mostly the Wellington side. But I think we stand a good chance to get a huge chunk of that to be the kind of thing that we're really interested in. So I think it should go pretty well. And the select woman in Wellington was very impressed with everything, so I think we're in good stead with that, and it'll be flushed out, and it's probably going to take a really long time, but some of the things that we suggested could be put in place rather quickly. So I think that that should go well if we get it. I don't know what, how many people submitted and all that, but it
Do you know
looks
when
good.
when the date is that we'd hear?
I think it's the end of December,
Okay,
but Chris will let me know when that comes in and everything.
cool.
Yeah, so hopefully that will be a whole other project that goes on. I know, Gwen, Our Town, Our Future has been really interested in looking at that and seeing what can happen. And, a big thing was somehow looking at where on the property would it be appropriate to do like a solar farm. That was one of the things that a lot of people said might really be helpful. So we'll just see. I think it's going to involve a lot of back and forth talking with the selectmen in terms of, how we can agree on the best thing for everyone. And it may be that they develop a committee, which I think they should do, of people who have an economic kind of interest, people who have a conservation interest, people who, want the land to be used to the best advantage for everyone. And I think when you're talking about recreation in Ashford, people really want that. I mean, they've always been forthcoming about trails and doing things and supporting. Look how many people came out with Langhammer and wanted it to maintain itself. So I think we're in pretty good shape with it. That would be my take on it. So
Good.
we'll see what happens down the road. There was something else as you were talking. I thought of something else, but it's gone.
Yeah, yes, maintaining rural character. That was in one of the surveys from years
Yeah.
ago. People check that box most frequently.
Right. Oh, I know what it was. It was after the grant. If we do get it, after the grant goes through, I think it would really be helpful if we pushed to create another survey similar to what we did, I don't know, 10 years ago or whatever, and ask people what are the things that they want of that property, and what are their ideas and suggestions, and then compile that, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to say we like the rural character and we don't want big warehouses or something. And the warehouses have been being turned down all over the state now, so nobody wants it in their backyard. So that's interesting. We'll see what
Kim and I
happens.
are pros at doing surveys, so we have it.
Oh,
There you go.
great.
Right.
I suggested this for the Our Town, Our Future, the leadership meeting in a month or two, when we have that at like an exit survey, just asking questions about the important topics like this. This would be one important topic. And we also thought that this would be a better way to deal with it than have confrontation or people, different sides arguing about what they want. If you just take this paper at the end, take it home, and then put your feedback in, there's going to be no fighting.
Right. Right. Okay, well,
Well, I'll just say, I think ultimately there's going to be a lot of compromise on Cadle Rock because there's so many conflicting interests and not going to be everything that everybody wants, or it's not going to be everything that any one group wants, I think.
But it could be the perfect opportunity for a blending together of all interests. You know, it's like, how do economic work with conservation, you know, and with people who are like really wanting to have a big business there, and how do we work it out together, because all of us are living in this town. So I think it's a perfect opportunity to get people talking to one another and who don't usually talk to one another. So it should be interesting. I felt that the meeting that we had, I was surprised at how easy it went, because I was expecting a lot more controversy, but I expected a lot of people to show up with, you know, pretty finished plans like we had, and there wasn't, and that shocked me. So
No, they just
we'll
didn't
see.
get to it. Because I know the ag committee had planned to submit plans, but then they didn't get to it. But that's not, you know.
Yeah. Right. So we'll see as we go down the road. I don't think there's going to be major decisions made within the next 6 months. So we got plenty of time. And I think it's good, because once that Yale Forest management plan is put in place, that will give a lot of information to people about, okay, what is possible and what is not possible, and what is the lay of the land, really tell us about how to use it and make best use of it. And I think Yale people are the best people to do that. I mean, it's like, so it should be very interesting what they come up with, you know, in terms of, and they'll be starting in the fall. So we'll probably get the final plan probably in January, February, when they do their finalization. So anyway, it'll be a whole course for them writing it up. That's exciting. So that's it. I will let you all go and enjoy the rest of your evening, and happy Halloween.
Thanks, Loretta.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
everybody. Good
Thanks,
night.
Loretta.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.